So, welcome to the Couples Corner 2023, our first ever podcast. How are you feeling about it?
Nervous. I think doing your first podcast. Let's get that right first. I think we need to get podcast right. I think it's really nerve-wracking. I think, I've never had cameras in front of me. I've never had, all of this around me. I'm an IT guy. Like, I like my job. This is a whole different avenue.
Your comfort zone of it.
I am definitely out of my comfort zone. So tell me, how do you feel?
Fine.
Nervous too?
I don't know. Like, I just feel like it's a bit weird.
Oh no, I don't know.
I feel like my voice sounds a bit different in this.
Obviously, we listen to different podcasts, and
but I think like the podcasts that me and you listen to are so different
in its own ways, 100%.
So we're like, when we came up with like our own ideas and stuff, we obviously took like snippets of other podcasts.
Yeah.
But I feel like you were into something and I was into another.
Yeah.
That was two completely different things, and then we had to like merge
that together,
certain things together,
which isn't easy. But I like this. I think with the Couples Corner, I want it to be a podcast where it's easygoing. It's nothing serious.
Yeah,
it's nothing political.
Light and also like whatever. Wow, so American. And whatever we say, like, it's our own opinions.
Yeah.
It's our own personal opinion, so I don't want anyone else to like, why is she saying that?
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like, everyone else has their own opinion, so whatever we say, then someone else might have a completely different view, which is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But whatever we say, like on this podcast, I just want to put it out there that it's our own personal opinion. Like, me and you might disagree.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
And trust me, knowing us, we will actually something will come up, which we will disagree about, and that's normal.
So we actually wanted to speak a bit about on like, is university worth it for just anyone really?
I think especially with I think there's a generational change. I think when kids my age or our age or our age group that year of 1998 and 1999 kids, when they went into uni, it was really to, because schools were pushing to get, right, you need to go uni, you need to go uni, you need to go uni, you need to be a doctor, you need to be an engineer, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I think people pushed into uni. But now people, or the kids that are coming up now, understand that it's not all about uni.
Yeah.
And there are kids out there that are just leaving high school, that they're just leaving sixth form, or college, and they are honestly doubtful of whether to go uni or not. And I think this is such a great topic to cover, because Larissa's going through uni.
Yeah.
I haven't gone through uni. So that's why we thought that this is the best topic to talk about, because we both have links to this and we both can speak on different sides.
On the both, different, yeah.
Larissa will cover the journey into university and what you're doing. You can tell them what you're actually doing in uni, and you can explain a bit about your course as well. And then I'll touch base on not going to university, the reasons why I wasn't able to go university. I think there is multiple reasons there.
Yeah.
And I think, and actually, I mentioned this to Larissa yesterday, is the fact that there's parts of my journey into my career that we haven't spoken about, such as, leaving school and that section of it. Larissa's, knows all about my career and what I've done and so forth and what I'm doing right now. But we really haven't spoken about, what I did before. Yeah. And the reasons why and things like that. But I think it's so important that kids do their research, get an understanding of the pros and cons of university.
But I think also it has a lot of that plays into it. And, like kids researching, but I don't want to go to uni, but like I'd rather work or get an apprentice. I think a lot of it also comes down to like culture.
Yes, yeah, 100%. And kids, there's a lot more kids can see as well, where in the sense of they see all these, the Molly Mays, the Tommy Furies, Love Islanders
Instagram.
going out, who are 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, just going on TV show and becoming famous. And
I wouldn't call them famous though. Like, fair enough, Molly May, but like, see people that's got like, because I feel like famous to me is like Will Smith, Kim Kardashian, like people that's actually like
I get,
famous.
I
But
get
I feel
that.
like these people are more like influencers, shall we say?
And I think, but what I'm trying to say is that's not the reality.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's what kids see. But unfortunately, that's not going to pay the bills later on. You know, I mean, it might do if you're Molly May, if you're Tommy Fury, it might do. You might get the mega deals and stuff like that, and that's fair. And you know, well done.
But there's
to
a lot
them.
of effort there to put into that.
And that's the thing, and that was my point, is they don't realize the hard work that some of them have to go into. And I'm sure Molly May has done a lot of work. You okay there?
Yeah, there was a little bit of hair stuck to your microphone.
I would really love to see how that looks on camera. But no, and I think, do you not think that kids nowadays don't want to work as hard?
I don't know, because I feel like there are certain kids that really do work hard.
100%. There'll always be a proportion.
I think education nowadays has just gone down.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot more, like, has just, it's not up there as it used to be.
No, 100%. You know, this is strictly my opinion, but I generally do believe that kids nowadays, you know, especially, I'm going to say the 2000s kids, don't want to work as hard. And the reason why I say this, I generally do believe our generation, the 1998 and 99 generation, was the last generation where that put their head down, work hard, that knows that they have to graft real hard to get to the top. And I think somewhere down the line, that's been lost with the new generation.
But I think a lot, like, part of it as well is, you know, like, you want to, like, I don't know what the word is, but, like, you want to show, like, your parents, or you don't want to disappoint your parents or
100%.
your caterers or whoever, like, that you live at home with. So I think part of it, I mean, part of you, like, wanted to show your parents that, look, you don't actually have to go to uni to actually get to where you are right now.
Correct, that's correct. And I will touch base on that, because that is a whole topic in itself.
Yeah.
And the whole thing when it comes to parents, I think facing disappointment, that's a good thing to, I think a lot of kids fear that, and because that was me. That was genuinely me. But
then a lot of kids don't.
Yeah.
They couldn't care less.
Care less. I know. I have generally seen kids couldn't care less about what they received in their GCSEs. What's the equivalent up here? Is
like GCSEs, I think that would be like Highers.
Highers, right? So Highers in Scotland.
I have no idea.
I still don't understand the Scotland education system, so forgive me.
Any Scottish listener?
Yeah, I still work to the England system, where such as GCSEs, A levels.
So GCSEs would be like national fives, and then A levels would be like Highers.
Oh, okay.
And then
cool.
Advanced Highers would be like what's above A levels.
I think it's AS and A levels.
Oh, well, that'd be one of the other.
Not too sure. I didn't get that far, so not too sure.
I did do one advanced higher at school, and that was drama. not even something good enough like that.
Trust me, I
can do with my career.
I'll touch base later on what I did and where I've ended up. So, do you want to start off?
Right, I think we're actually going off track again. Yeah. That's also something that we do. We like. But we talk about something and then we always go off track.
Yeah, but I like it to a certain extent, because I want this podcast to be as natural as possible. Yeah. I don't want it to be so structured in a way, so we have to cover point by point by point.
Yeah,
and things. I would like it to run off a little bit, because there'll be certain things that we're generally two normal people, and I hope you get to see that side to us.
Also, I have like the biggest resting bitch face. Like I'm so happy inside, but my face says the complete opposite.
She's Brazilian. That's all I'm gonna say. Latina,
right?
Brazilian, really difficult. Really difficult.
Nice.
But that might be another conversation for later. But no, let's dig into this. Let's dig in deep. Let's get
digging deep.
let's,
All right.
let's dig in deep. Do you want to just explain? Obviously, getting into uni, did you experience any difficulties?
I think
with that?
like obviously I'm currently on my year out just now, but I am studying children and young people's nursing, or other people might know it by a pediatrics nurse. I actually wanted to do primary teaching before I went into nursing. Pretty much like since I was younger, I don't remember how long ago it was, but I've always wanted to work with kids, and I don't know why. I don't have a reason why. I just wanted to work with children.
Like when we're around kids, she's such a natural. And with the feedback she's got with uni and things like that, that's the one word that I've seen come up so many times.
Yeah, it's like
natural. Which is great to hear and see and things like that. But yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so like I actually wanted to do primary teaching, and then I did like volunteering at primary school, but I just wasn't feeling it. Like I think it just wasn't for me. And then I applied to the kids nursing degree, but I actually didn't get it.
So
I didn't get in.
So explain this. So was this just after college?
So this was actually just after I left school.
So what age was that?
So after I actually left school, so I was 18 at the time.
So you're 18, you left school.
I applied for primary teaching, which I got a conditional offer for it.
Okay, was that at what was that, a university? Was that
university? That was Aberdeen University.
Aberdeen University, all right.
But I needed to get I think I needed to get like an A in English or something else. I can't remember what it was, but obviously I didn't get it. But I wasn't that sad or bothered by it, because it's like after doing the volunteering, it's not something that I actually wanted to do.
Yeah.
So like I wasn't fussed really. So then I applied to college, which I did early years education, I think it's called. And that is basically like to work in a nursery. Like hats off to everyone that works in a nursery, but I couldn't think of anything worse to work in a nursery. Like I didn't mind it, but like literally as a student, like all I did was play with the kids all day, and I just got a bit bored of that. Like I do that at home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it.
It just wasn't for me. So then whilst I was in college, I applied for uni and tried nursing again. And I think because you have to write on your personal, what are they called? Like
personal statements.
Yeah, personal statement. You have to write like your experience and stuff. And obviously I had a little bit of that. Working like in a nursery, I added that too, and then I got an unconditional offer. So then I was like, oh my god! So I don't need I didn't need to get that diploma from college or anything. I just automatically got in, which is like the best thing. And then when I went to uni and like went to my first placement and stuff, like it just felt so right, and like it felt like I was in the right career and like in the right path of where I was meant to be. Like as cringy as that sounds.
Yeah, and it kind of fit in together like a puzzle, right?
Yeah.
For me, I don't have any university experience. So what was it like when you first joined?
I think as I joined during COVID, and I've actually got that uni experience of what people used to say, what it was like.
Okay.
So everything was obviously online, and I joined 2020, and that was like fucking peak COVID.
Yeah, no, that's true. True.
So, yeah, I mean, it was fine. I think we obviously are split into like groups, and I got friendly with like these group of girls, and we actually met up before we went to uni, before we started like the first uni.
Okay, so there was
lesson.
a bit of interaction.
So like we all went out, like we went to drinks and stuff, and it was actually really nice. But it was actually like it felt nicer knowing the people who you're going to be in class with, that you knew it beforehand.
I think that's important, isn't it?
So that was actually really nice. But I mean, I'm going to third year next year. I don't know, like I just feel like it went so quick. It literally went so quick.
From the time I've known you, it has flown by.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that you'll be graduating next year.
I feel like as well, it's different down in England and like international student and stuff, because you'd have to pay for like the tuition fees and stuff. But with
my
like
next question was about fees and things like that. And
I'm from here, then there's a thing called the SAS, which we get like bursaries, which I'm not like don't really feel comfortable saying how much we get.
Yeah.
But like
just
we get quite a good amount like each month throughout the year. But like, and SAS also pays your tuition fee, so you don't have to pay, I don't know if it's like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, depending obviously what degree you're sitting. And I think it also depends on if you're doing a bachelor's or honours degree and all that.
And I think don't quote me on this, but I think with the type of degree you're doing, in the sense of, you know, if you're doing medicine,
yeah,
you know, you did nursing, but if you're doing engineering, I think that should change, right?
mm-hmm.
Because I know for an international student, it's the fees. You don't get these options to have a bursary, or you don't get a SAS to pay off your tuition fees.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately a lump sum, you know, and that is it. It's either you pay it or you don't, and that means, you know, and we're talking in excess of £25,000. 25,
and like
30.
and the thing about nursing, and I don't know if paramedics get it, but nursing itself, like we get bursaries, which it's the money that we don't have to pay back. We don't have to worry about like once we graduate, oh my god, I have so much money, so like 30,000 or something,
so much debt to pay back.
Like pay back. Whereas like if you do like law or like other like business and
stuff, different types
other
of
things, then obviously if you want to, you'd get your student loan, which then you'd have to pay that back like later. But I think I think you obviously have to be earning a certain amount of time before you can actually pay it back.
Yeah, so I think it's 25,000.
Only like £30 a month or something.
It's they compare it, like, you know, when I was reading up on it, I think they compare it to a phone bill. It's so equivalent to a phone bill every month. After you reach 25,000, I think that might have changed. I'm not too sure. That might have gone down or up, regardless. But yeah.
It's not much monthly. But I feel like just having that big lump sum sitting like on your name.
Yeah, it's frightening.
That kind of like it scares me.
You know, I was working for a construction company back in 2018, 2019, and one of my colleagues back then, she was in her 40s and she was still paying her student debt. So I can imagine how much her debt must have been. And for it, I would have gone under as an international student, and when I looked at the fees and when I knew people that just, you know, a year ahead of me that was going into uni, the fees were ridiculous. And let's get this straight. They were still asking for international fees for online learning.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. And one of the questions I wanted to ask, just for my personal understanding as well, to be honest, how did you prefer it being online, or would you have preferred it being, you know, in a lecture hall, you know, in an auditorium or whatever it is at RGU?
I really don't know, because I never actually got to the point that we are going constantly to like a lecture hall or to classes or whatever. Like when I joined, we had 2 days in uni. As much as felt nice going in, I think it's all down to personal preference. But for myself, I preferred the online because like I didn't have like some days that I didn't feel like getting dressed. Like I would just put like a top on, like have pajama bottoms on. Do you know what I mean? Like tidy my hair and stuff, and then do my work and not feel like having that pressure of them, like, are you paying attention and stuff, like where they couldn't really see. They didn't see me because my video was never on.
And you're in your own comfort.
And I was in the comfort of my own home, so like it felt nice, but then it also felt a bit boring. Okay. If you know what I mean, I get you. Yeah, I get you. Still to this day, I still have no idea like what I would prefer. I feel like,
and that makes sense, and I think let's, you know, that makes sense, and that's all right to feel like that. And I'm gonna ask you a good question, because I really want to know. Was it worth going uni for? Is it worth? Let's. I'm gonna clarify what I'm gonna say. Was it and is it worth going university for your degree?
For my degree, right? No.
Okay, because
I'm gonna say no.
we have similar opinions.
So I feel like it's hard because I personally feel like nursing should be an apprenticeship. I feel like it shouldn't be a degree.
Agreed. 100% agreed.
Like I feel like you should have like a practical. Most of your stuff is practical. And then once a week you do your study on, like once a month or whatever, do exams. But I don't think it's worth like the 3 years and like 3 exams each year. And because we don't like, we only get 5 weeks placement. That's not enough.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree.
Because like I feel like at the end of each placement I've had, it's when I actually start learning about things and I actually get comfortable and I'm used to the environment. But then I'm just leaving, so then it's kind of a loss.
And it becomes a blocker at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know the real word for it. I don't say it becomes a downer.
It's not really a downer, but I know what you mean.
That's definitely not the right word. I can't.
I know
it might
what you
come
mean.
to me later. It's on the tip of my tongue. But my personal opinion with nursing, and I don't know any nurses. Larissa is the first nurse that I actually know, or will be a nurse. And just from her experience, just getting to know what she does, and you've exposed that side to me, that nursing, children's nursing, what you do, the processes of it, and things like that. And it's opened my eyes to a lot of things. And the one thing that I will agree with Larissa is the fact that, honestly, you can go through an apprenticeship for that. I think as a nurse, it's more practical and it's more important to know the practical side of it.
Yeah.
Because during the practical side, you learn the theory behind it. But
I'm going to disagree with you there, because when you go to a practical, obviously, when you do your placement, everything's practical.
Mm-hmm.
But then your theory, the way that you do your theory is you understand like the why that's happening.
Okay,
so like obviously you have your human biology.
Yeah.
You have other things that I can't remember what they're called.
Oh no.
And like you have the nursey thing, so you know how to do certain things, but then it's also like, why are you doing it? Okay. If you know what I mean.
Yeah,
but
I get you.
I feel like should be like certain like level of theory, but I feel like it shouldn't be to what it is just now.
You believe that it should be like 60%, practical.
I say like 70%, 40%
practical. Yeah.
Theory, not 50-50.
No, I get it. Like 70-30.
Yeah.
And on that perspective.
I said 70-40. I was like,
so I didn't think you were going to bring it up. That's why I just, corrected it. Just slight, but you brought it up. So it is what it is.
And I'm going to nursing degree, kind of do maths.
But no, like, is there anything else you want to share about?
No, I don't think so. I think because I feel like because my degree is it's so like, what's the word? It's just so like, it's so not basic. I don't know. Like basic because like anyone can do it, and it's not hard. Like you don't need to have like 6 A's or 3 A's to get in. Like you literally C's.
Yeah, no, do you know what I mean? Yeah, no, I get that. But the one thing I have to say, not everyone can be a nurse.
I know.
Because I think you are a people's person.
I know, but I'm saying in terms of like getting into uni.
Oh no, 100%. Yeah, no, 100%.
Like being it worth of getting a degree.
100%.
Like,
no, 100%. Because like this is my opinion, and I strongly disagree. Anyone that is not comfortable talking to people, not uncomfortable being upfront with people, because I was in the hospital not that long ago for my ankle, and I saw some nurses who might just be having a bad day. Let's have some empathy and appreciation that a hospital environment is not easy. You know full well of the environment that you have to deal with, which is completely understandable. But as a nurse, I feel like you should be a people's person. You should have empathy and compassion, because you're dealing with someone else's life.
I think that you also have to have a lot of patience.
Yeah.
Especially especially with people that you're working with dementia or that any sort of mental health issues, because I feel like that is where they really, really test your patience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've come across like nurses, especially with older people, like as bad as it sounds, like no patience whatsoever. So I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, and it's dangerous. If you put a nurse that cannot show the right empathy, cannot have that compassion for that person who is suffering, like someone that has dementia doesn't know what's going on.
I'm gonna share a story, but obviously I'm not gonna name names. But I was working in a ward, in ARI, and this patient had obviously issues.
Right.
And then I had someone else that was working like the same band as I was.
Right.
And she wasn't really able to mobilize.
Okay.
And I wasn't there at that time, but I came through and I was watching this lady, this healthcare worker, just being so impatient and like being, just not having like the right attitude that she needed to have for that certain patient, because all patients are different. They're all going to react to you. Some of them might not like you, but that doesn't mean you change.
Your care changes.
Yeah, for that.
Sorry, but I do want to add, like, you have to treat them with the right dignity as well. You know, because their life, their care is in your hands.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. So, like when we go to hospital, I think it's like an obligation that we demand to be treated with the best care. Yeah. Right?
So then, obviously I went, because obviously like certain wards you have to like clean, wash the patients and stuff. So obviously I went to get the things that we needed. And I came back and like this patient was just in tears. And I obviously I was like, what's wrong? Like what's happened? And then she was saying to me, oh, thank you for taking the time to listen to me, and saying that she felt that I was being patient with her, and like she felt like the other lady wasn't being heard and stuff like that. She was just being a bit rough, and I'm like, and like I took the time to listen. Sometimes patients just need you to just sit there and just take it in for them. They need that someone to just vent things to.
No, 100%.
And I feel like a lot of older nurses and like nurses that are from, I don't know, what, like before my time type of thing. The old-fashioned nurses, I feel like they're more like less understanding of situations. I'm not saying all of them. I'm just saying like there are a few that are like that. And some of them are more like less
considering.
No, like they're less like they're a bit rougher, like in terms of putting their clothes on and like the handling of the patient.
Yeah. No, I get that, and like I said, I just want to quickly obviously go back to obviously the question, not the question, my point, in the sense of I don't, although it's anyone can obviously go into nursing, I think there's a certain type of person that can be a nurse, or to be a successful nurse. You know, if you're not a people's person, definitely not the job for you. I think sit behind a desk. Do you?
But I also feel like there's certain parts of when you're a student, certain students will then think that they can do anything because they're a student and not part of the numbers and not part of the team and stuff. But in my eyes, if you're a student, I'm sorry, but you're down here.
Yeah,
do you know
100%.
what I mean? They're gonna give you the shittiest job to do if you have nothing to do.
Exactly.
They're gonna make 100%. You run errands if they don't want to and you're there. They're gonna make you do that. 100%. And like I've came across like a lot of students don't like that. But then like at the same time, if you want to be a nurse, you have to go through these things.
Yeah.
To be able,
you have to go from the bottom. You have to, graft. You have to graft, and there's no, you can't make an excuse. You can't just think, oh, I'm a student, so I don't have to do it. No, actually, that is your job.
Yeah, and there's certain parts as well that they think that they can do anything they want.
Yeah,
because they're a student. They think like they can be on their phones and do this and that. Like the amount of stories that my mentors have told me, like from previous placements, of like student not dressing appropriately, just like the smallest of things.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
I can imagine.
I don't even know what to say, because I'm just like, I think it's just self-aware. Like, don't.
No, I think kids, especially the younger generation, they just expect more for things to fall into their hands. We've heard Larissa's side, and on her journey to children's nursing, and I'm sure we can obviously explore that a lot more in detail later on. But I think the points that I want to share is the fact that there are certain degrees or certain industries, I would say that's probably a better way to say it, certain industries that you need a degree.
Yeah.
Such as medicine, such as law, such as psychology, if you're doing those type of things, which is necessary. Like if you're doing certain types of IT, it's necessary for you to do a degree such as like a software developer and so forth. But equally, there are plenty of jobs out there that don't require a degree, that don't require you to have that debt hanging over your head. And I think that's important as well, because do you know much about the other side of not going to university and coming up? Because we've not really talked about it, to be honest. That's the thing.
Well, my dad never went to uni.
Yeah, true.
So he obviously, like, he told me about the pros and cons of not going to uni.
Yeah.
And also going to uni. But then I feel like going to uni, it's a personal preference, but also when you're a bit younger, it's also like what your parents want you to do.
Yeah. 100%.
But you didn't go into uni, so
no.
How was that?
So the last point that I want to touch on is what you said about parents, and I think that is a big factor when it comes to going to uni and not going to university, and the whole bit about disappointment, which we were talking about earlier. Now, when I failed my exams, I'll be very, very open about it. I'll be transparent with you guys. I went through GCSEs, and from GCSEs I went into the first level of A levels, which from what I remember is called AS level, and unfortunately I failed that. I didn't, let's not go into marks or total marks that I got, because it was atrocious. But I was unable to progress nor repeat the year. It was that bad. But the moment I opened that white letter, and I pulled that letter out, which had my grades on there, it is one of the most nerve-wracking things that a student can go through, especially that age. The stress, the amount of stress that puts on you at that very, very moment for that very few minutes, it can go either way. It can go, you can get A stars, A's, B's, whatever, and be so happy, explode with happiness and so forth. But then there are so many kids that unfortunately, not out of their own accord, like, I don't think no one tries to fail.
Yeah,
I think
no,
you can't help it. Like, you just unfortunately not good at exams, or you're more a practical person, or unfortunately you didn't revise and so forth, might have actually been your fault.
I feel like sometimes as well, it's just you feel like that pressure of, oh my god, it's exams, I need to do well, and then you kind of have like a little mind blank.
And it's overbearing. And you get overwhelmed, right?
Yeah.
And everyone has had an exam or done something associated with school or even as a work qualification, and you've had to sit down and you've got a timer, and you're rushing. If you get stuck on one question, you lose time, and the stress just goes through the roof. The point that I want to make is I was scared about the disappointment that I was about to face with my parents, and I know that I disappointed them. Let's be clear about that. Regardless of the success that I can go through in life, and that to the point that I've got to where I am right now in my career, and which I will share in a second. I did disappoint my parents, because my parents did want me to go to university, and it's that Asian culture. I'm Sri Lankan by birth. I was born in Sri Lanka, came here when I was 3, but my parents wanted me to go into medicine. Which Asian parent doesn't? It's either medicine, engineering, or
like
law.
my grandma wanted me to be a doctor.
Yeah,
Like,
my mum still wants you to be a doctor.
I know, like I don't want to be a doctor.
My mum still tells Larissa to go and be a doctor.
Like that's too many. That's no.
But it's not about that, and I think a lot of kids are under pressure by their parents, and there will be kids that are in university right now because of their parents, and
definitely.
are only in university because of their parents, and deep down they want to do something different. I knew a few kids like that were when I was trying to get into uni or going through AS level that were at the point of going into university. They were literally doing medicine because their mom and dad forced them to do medicine, and it's all about comparing, our parents comparing me and my sister or someone else's kids to others, and it's all of that comparison, trying to be the better person, or the better family. But the impact that has on the kid is something that they will never realize. The mental impact, the mental health that they deteriorate that kid's mental health without even realizing. And I think that's what my parents did to an extent, and no fault for my parents. I'm not going to blame my parents because they've been so supportive since that point. But they did kind of force me into sports medicine, although I wanted to do it, but I think I was still unsure.
Yeah.
I really wanted to do sports medicine. I really wanted to be the guy that runs onto a football pitch to deal with the players. But I was still unsure. And I was still trying to find my way. When you're 15, 16, you're not going to know what you want to be when you're older. Not 100%. Not unless you're so committed to one thing. There will be kids that are 100% committed. There will be kids that are not sure. And I was one of those unsure kids where I wanted to do it, but I was like, is there anything else? And I think the problem is the fact that schools also don't give you enough information about,
I think that
apprenticeships and so forth.
Also make you choose your subjects when you're 15, when you're like 14.
Yeah.
Like most kids have no clue.
No
at that
clue.
age, and they'll just pick subjects
for the sake of picking. As I said, I want to name this school it's called Cotton Wiseman. It's in Greenford in London, and I'm going to name it because I do have a bit of anger towards the school, because I don't think they were supportive with kids. I think they had a motive, and that was to get as many kids as possible into the top 10, top 20 Reed universities, such as Cambridge, Oxford, UCL, King's College, and stuff like that. Those top universities. And I think it's wrong. And I think 100% it's wrong. And I will argue to end of earth about this. Because if teachers told me about apprenticeships or told me there are other avenues to university, I would have 100% taken the apprenticeship. From the age of 16, when I finished in 2015, I would have started working then and there. Mm-hmm. But no one did it. And no one told me about anything else. And due course, I could have, there will be some critics that say, well, you could have just opened Google and typed it in, 100%. Probably didn't do that. But also you rely on your school for some guidance. Left school when I was so 2016 left school, so 2015 GCSEs, first year of AS levels in 2016, so roughly around about August I left school. So after leaving school, I had some support around myself, not my parents, but I had people around me to support. Let's shout out Jay, my best friend. He was a godsend to me. I don't have a brother, and he really filled that space in for me. He had a similar path to myself, and is really successful at the moment and has done really well in his career, and he provided me that guidance as well. And with my support system around me, obviously trying to explain to my parents what's happened. Initially, I was away from my parents for a week, staying with my sister, and obviously thinking about what I'm going to say. But my sister had a conversation with my parents as well, which I am grateful for, because it helped them understand, okay, look, everything's not about university.
There's other ways.
There's other ways. And I was very, very capable. I'm not going to toot my own horn. Practically,
beep, beep.
practically, I am I'm a lot more better practically than I am with theory, and that's where my career really that's the pinnacle point of my career, because I went into IT. I got into IT. Don't even ask me how I got first started, but I started with BT, and when I
BT.
when I was 17 years old, I got my first job at BT, and that is actually, when I think about it, it's actually freaking amazing. Like, what 17-year-old kid can say they joined a global business that is earning more than 1.3 billion in revenue each year? You know, massive company around the world, supporting and connecting many countries together. And, you know, I'm going to highlight these two people, James Elwood, Brian Forgate. Probably will never listen to these podcasts. So
they wouldn't even give it the time in the day.
100%. But
just,
you know
I don't think
what?
it'll be up there straight.
But you know what? One of the greatest guys, two great guys who was willing to open a door for a 17-year-old that wanted to start a career, really got to know me. I was on a course. They came, you know, they met me through that course, and you know, they really kicked off my career, and I really wouldn't know what I would do without those two people giving me that opportunity.
I think a lot of it as well, like not a lot of it, but part of it is luck, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I'm you know, I wouldn't say I'm really religious, but you know, I am religious, and I think prayers, you know, having hope and luck, yes,
yeah,
100%.
It'll get you places.
100%. I think I think for me it was really good advice. If you have the passion, if you have the drive, and if you have the willingness to succeed
and
commit to that, you will go places. 100%. You'll climb the ladder so quick without realizing. And for me, I think I've been blessed, because my careers the jobs that I've been with have all been with top companies.
Yeah.
BT, Morgan Sindall, Lovell, having experiences with BA, Morgan Stanley, KPMG, and so forth. Like, you know, with BT, I got to experience a variety of companies, which I was ever so grateful for, because I learned so much at such a young age as well, and I also matured by it as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I also want to say, when kids go to university, they part of the university experience is clubbing, going bars, getting drunk, and so forth. But I think with apprenticeships, and not just apprenticeships, because you don't have to go into apprenticeships, you could just, you know, get a job and just start
go that way,
just start building yourself up and start moving from industry to industry and finding your niche. But I think when you're going down that route with either getting a job or apprenticeship, you mature a lot quicker, which I think helps you later down the line. I think you get to know a lot more things in life, the more important things in life, such as tax, national insurance numbers,
credit
scores, and things like that. Now, Larissa didn't know anything about a credit score until I met her, and maybe, you know, your parents or other people might have told you about it, but it might have just, you know, gone over your head. But kids, you know, going to uni, you don't know about a credit score. You don't know that, you know, how, you know, the block that it causes you to have a poor credit score. You can't get any finances. You can't get a car. If you want to get a car on finance, obviously you pay out, right? That's fine. But if you want to get a car on finance, you want to get a mortgage, you can't do those things without a great credit score.
Unless you just buy things outright. Yeah,
100%. When you go down the apprenticeship route, I think there's a lot more pros than cons to it. Yes, but I would say if you're going down the apprenticeship route, you have to have maths and English. You know, your maths and English.
But that's with any degree that you go through.
No, true. But I think because those two questions are or English is the one that always comes down later down in the line. What did you get for your results? Did you pass English? Yes, I did. You know, and things like that. I think so. If there's anything to get into apprenticeship, pass your English. I think I know a friend who didn't pass English, but now has real trouble getting jobs and things like that, because he didn't have his English GCSE. So, but he's redone that and he's passed that and so forth. Anyway, so just want to push along. Started at BT, you know, grew my career at BT. I think.
Yeah.
You know,
how long were you at BT for?
I was at BT just over 2 years.
Was it just 2? Why did I think you were like there for 7 years?
But those 2 years, because BT move you around to different companies, I learned so much. I think I have not learned as much as I have done in any other job than I have in BT. Because I moved to big companies, I moved with different teams. I think I learned how to adapt at BT. Because I have to, because I would be 6 months at KPMG, then I'll be thrown in at Morgan Stanley. You know, then I got moved to the Morgan Sindall account. And then from the Morgan Sindall account is how I found out Lovell Partnerships, and I moved across to Lovell. I think when I was at Lovell, I learned people skills. Because at BT, you were just an engineer, right? Yes, you were in a team, but you were really by yourself.
Focus on your own
focus things. On my own, you know, what we call tickets or instances that we had to deal with. And we'll be, you know, I used to travel so much for BT around London and so forth. Whereas when I was at Lovell, you were in an office. I didn't move around that much until later down in my career with Lovell. You have to learn, you have to go to different construction sites, you have to deal with different people. But because I was within that business, I was working for that business, so I had to commit more time to those people, and I have to adapt to those different type of personalities. So that's what I definitely learned, that being adaptive and so forth there, and learning people's different personalities. I think with going down my route, I think if you're not a theoretical person, if you struggle with exams, I think apprenticeships is the right route.
Or just getting a full-time job and growing from there. But some people might just be happy enough to just get a job and that's it. Not need to move anywhere. They 100%. Get comfortable. And
I have a friend that works at Starbucks, and that is very, very happy at Starbucks. You know, he doesn't earn that much, but he's okay. Granted, he lives with his parents and so forth, but he loves his life. And the fact that he loves talking to people, and that he loves, when he makes a coffee, he loves to talk to that person. Yeah. And that's different. You know, that if that's what you like, go for it. But I'm sorry, but I don't agree. If you're not going to be a doctor, a surgeon specialist, the engineer, mechanical, civil engineer and so forth, the lawyer, the psychologist and so forth, then there are plenty of other jobs out there. You don't even have to go through like a proper apprenticeship program. You know, you can be a plumber, you can be an electrician, you can
just work for yourself.
Joiner, you can create your own business. You can start podcasting. Monetize if you do so well, you can monetize it. You know, you can do YouTube and so forth. How many YouTubers do we know? And YouTube is now, the YouTubers are all over the TV screens right now. With Logan Paul, Jake Paul, KSI and so forth. Look at what they've done. They started very small, they struggled, and you know, they've put their effort and so forth. And look where they are right now. Obviously, just to clarify, obviously electricians, plumbers and joiners and so forth, they have apprenticeship programs and things like that. You have to go through qualifications to do that. But they are working qualifications. So you do that whilst you're working. And I've done that within IT. So my job in IT is IT service delivery. And I'm an IT service delivery / customer success manager. What is the reason for me going into this field? I love people. I love talking to people.
He could actually talk for the whole of Scotland.
Yes, 100%. So, yeah, I got into my field because I have a deep passion for customer service and to talking to people and helping people out. And I've always said, actually, to be honest, being a doctor, being a nurse, I think would have actually suited me quite well because I love helping people.
Yeah.
I love to make people's days and things like that. I love, you know, having that personal conversations with people because everyone has a story. And I think you get to know different people, and when you get to know them, it's actually amazing when you hear the stories. I have countless stories that people have told me, and obviously I'm not going to go into it right now, but it's made me who I am, part of it. Obviously, my parents, the discipline and so forth, but learning these stories, being around those people, conforming to your environment in a positive manner has definitely shaped me to who I am.
So here's a question then. Would you say that if you go to uni and you have a degree, or if you don't, that you can achieve the same level of success?
100%. 100%.
So, like, you didn't go to uni, I went to uni, right?
Yeah.
I have a degree, you don't.
Yeah.
So, you're saying that you can achieve the same level of success
Just
as
to
I
highlight,
could.
I have one qualification. One qualification. IT Service Management, ITIL V4.
Nice.
One.
One.
So let's run that back. You have a degree, I have one qualification. Because I'm so proud of that qualification because it really took it out of me to get that pass.
So what like, do you think that, you know, people who hasn't gone to uni, doesn't have a degree, can achieve the same level of success and the same level of career advancement?
100%. 100%. And the 2 points I'm going to make here is, one, your dad, and two, myself. But I'm gonna be a little bit biased here, and I'm not gonna toot my own horn.
Beep beep.
I love that. I think that's gonna be a highlight of this. I think yes, myself, not gone to uni, hated exams, hate studying. Till this day, I'm studying for something right now. Absolutely hate it. I'm moaning pretty much every day about it. But hey ho, in a few years, I was able to climb the ladder to become an IT manager, right? Well and truly had to graft my absolute ass off, right? Sorry for the swearing and stuff like that, but I was committed, and the reason I will highlight this is because I saw the disappointment in my parents' face. I know that I had to now show them something, and I had to show them that I can be something. Right, and uni is not everything. I have that, and I still have that same motivation as I do now when I was 17, right? And I have managed university students without having my own degree.
Actually, yeah.
And that's the craziest thing about it. I didn't go to uni, but I had uni students
coming to you
below me, and coming to me with advice. And let's be real, and let's put it out there. Just because you go to university doesn't mean you'll come out with a job. I know plenty of people that have gone 2-3 years without a job. There are people that I know that have gone down the apprenticeship route and not liked it. It was too hard for them. And that is okay. Apprenticeships are full on.
You hear your voice went a bit high pitched.
Oh, sorry.
And that is okay.
But that is okay, because apprenticeships are not easy. Yeah, apprenticeships are not walk in park. You have to put your head down. You need to work hard, and you need to stay committed. If not, you will come out with whatever the apprenticeship qualification is, but not have the willingness to keep going forward. There are so many successful people that don't have a degree. And few people are Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. So Bill Gates, the co-founder of Microsoft, Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple. You got Mark Zuckerberg, co-founder of Facebook. You got Richard Branson, founder of Virgin, who is severely dyslexic, which I found out not that long ago.
Yeah.
And who actually hires a lot of dyslexic people, which I think is amazing.
Because they think differently.
Yeah. And again, a whole different topic. But I think that is amazing. And I'm definitely going to look into that and see what else he's done. Oprah Winfrey, another person.
Oprah who?
Oprah, who is it? Winfrey? Winfrey?
Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey.
How do you say it?
Oprah Winfrey.
Winfrey. Is it how you say it? Oh, damn. I've been saying it so wrong. It's, how do you say it?
Winfrey.
Winfrey.
Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah Winfrey. Okay, let's just move on.
Stop.
Jeez, my pronunciation with some names are so bad. But my point is the fact that you don't need a degree to be successful. There are several people here.
But it also depends on what you want to do with your life.
It also depends on what you want to do with your life. Like I said, if you want to go medicine, law,
or anything.
So I did a bit of research into this as well, and there's a guy called Mark Twain. And there's a quote that he's put out. And he says, "Some people get an education without going to college. The rest get it after they get out." Now, let me say that again. Some people get an education without going to college. The rest get it after they get out.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Wow.
I'd agree.
I saw that and I was like, I have to.
That's really true though, because
I have to say this.
Because when you're in college, uni, you're still not out in the real world. You're still not learning what the actual world is about.
Life lessons. How many uni kids will know what a mortgage is, or how a mortgage works,
or just like little
or how
things.
income tax
Do you know what I
is,
mean? Like,
or the tax that you pay with a salary and how it goes up.
yeah.
I had to learn that by getting my salary and also, wait, why am I losing money here? What is this? And sometimes panicking because I had like an emergency tax code and like several £100 have just left my I've been taken out of my salary. I'm like, no.
No.
And you go from getting your salary before tax and then getting only half of it. You know, that goes into your bank account, which is painful in itself. I'm hoping we've covered the pros and cons to it.
I don't know. I feel like there is just so much to say.
Yeah.
There is absolutely so much to say about it on degrees and non-degrees.
Yeah.
That we just don't have the time right now to actually speak.
It would require like a 3-hour podcast, and unfortunately, I don't want to do that.
And I couldn't listen to a 3-hour podcast.
And we want to keep it as short as possible. We've actually run on this one, and that is because it is it's our first podcast.
Yeah,
we do go off track a bit, which is, you know, we're understanding it. There are definitely things to take from this podcast, but you know, the cons of university, obviously, the debt that you take out of it, not knowing whether you're actually going to get a job with it. Some people go into university and
the
might
amount of
not
people,
like it, you know, and
the
might
amount
drop
of people that actually leave during their,
and that's
because it's
never
not what they
about.
thought
Yeah,
it would be,
and that's never spoken about.
Yeah,
and there are also a lot of positives to uni. Obviously, it sets you up for a better career. It does give you that stepping stone. It's a great way to network. The 65% of students stay connected to the people that they networked with and they've made friends with in uni. And if that's amazing. That's a high percentage, and that's an amazing thing. And obviously the pros and cons to not going to university. I think obviously the cons is, you know, you're subjected to the special section of industries that obviously don't require, and you can't get obviously to medicine and so forth without a degree. But there's so many more positives. I think.
I think there's positives in both. I think it's all down to personal preference and what you want to do.
Do all your research possible, and I'm sure we will do another podcast with more, obviously, diving deeper into university or not. But I think I just want to say, look, this is our first podcast. We are nervous. I've been nervous throughout this whole podcast, and obviously just talking, just making sure how we sound and so forth, because we'll only know that afterwards. In our headsets, we sound good. On
the earphones, it sounds really nice.
Yeah, so whether that's gonna come out exactly like that is different. But no, I just want to say thank you. Obviously, if you know, hopefully when we get some more support, and
if you listen to us, really appreciate it.
You know, support us. Watch our rest of our podcast. But we will continue to release more podcasts. But again, will be focused on me and Larissa, just talking to one another, understanding each other, talking about topics that are important to both of us, but they could be a topic that...
Or just anything, or topics that we actually don't even know about that we want to discuss.
We want to get to know and talk about. So
and just keeping it light and fun, and that's it. Nothing...
And non-political.
And nothing too serious. Yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one.